Hey folks, welcome to Horsemanship 101 again today. And today, with the help of my faithful little assistant here, we're going to talk about bareback riding. It was a subject I'd been thinking about for a while, and recently one of my viewers actually asked what I thought about bareback riding, and I thought, hey, good excuse to do a video. So today we're going to talk about pros and cons of bareback riding and compared to saddled. And now, first up, I'm going to say I'm not against bareback riding, not at all. I seldom do it myself for a couple of reasons. One, I'm not a really good rider, so I'm better off with a saddle. A lot easier mounting. You don't have to side up to a fence or whatever. And actually, contrary to popular belief, it's not that good for the horse. Now, this is what I want to talk about, is lots of people like riding bareback because they think it's more natural. It's better for the horse to not have it all tacked up and stuff like that. Well, they're only half right. It is probably a little more natural, and I mean, honestly, I get it, because there's nothing like the feeling of a horse right underneath you without a saddle in between you and the horse. So I understand the desire for bareback riding. However, a lot of people like the bareback ride because they think it's actually better for the horse, and it's not. And I'm going to give you a few numbers here. Very simple. Somebody explained this in comparative terms to me once, and I actually started doing the math on it and go, wow. Yeah, okay, this is true. Now, you consider, if you're bareback, the area where your buttocks sits and your thighs carry your weight on the horse. Now, I got some numbers here I'm going to throw out. Keep in mind, they're for me, my saddle, my weight, and they're going to be different for everybody, depending on your shape and weight and the type of saddle you're using and everything else. There's a lot of variables, but the difference between bareback and saddle is so huge, it doesn't matter how accurate your numbers are, you just cannot deny the difference between the two. Now, what we got here is, I just did roughly, if I'm riding bareback, I got about 48 square inches of my backside and thighs on the horse, approximately. I didn't use a scientific method to calculate that, but that is approximately what we got. And if with the saddle on, if you consider the entire contact area of the saddle and how it's dispersed with the saddle pad to actually a little bit bigger than the saddle itself, you're looking at about 720 square inches. Now, bareback, that equates to about 3.85 pounds per square inch pressure on the horse's back, and not only you have a lot of weight, but it's also in a small area, and my tailbone is basically sitting right on our spine, which is not intended to carry any weight at all. Well, actually, a horse isn't meant to be ridden in the first place, but that's the worst place you can put weight. With a saddle, this entire area, the way the weight's displaced, even with the added weight of the saddle on there, is 0.3 pounds per square inch. That's a 15-to-1 difference between bareback and saddle riding. So if you think you're being nice to your horse and being more natural by riding bareback, think again. Okay, like I said, I don't have anything against riding bareback, and for some of you lighter people that don't weigh much more than 100 pounds, it's probably not even much of an issue, as far as whether or not you're causing excess strain on the horse. But for someone like myself, I'm pushing 200 pounds. I'm better off with a saddle, especially on a smaller horse like this. I'm sure that my big fat butt on her back, right on top of her spine, probably doesn't feel very good. And it's not something I really want to do to her. Now, I'm not going to say I've never ridden bareback. I have been on her bareback a few times. That big fella right there, I have ridden bareback as well. He's quite a bit bigger. He's 15 hands and 1,200 pounds, so, not as big of an issue, but still, the difference between bareback and saddle is 15-to-1. Okay, so I have never done the calculation for a English saddle or Aussie style saddle, which has a much smaller contact area. You got pads down each side. There's a little bit of contact on the thigh and that, but I'm just guessing. I'm going to say you probably got still a 7 or 10-to-1 advantage over bareback, even with one of those saddles. Irony is, a lot of people that like to be nice to their horse, they get flex tree or treeless saddles because they're interested in the horse being able to move and comfort and everything else. Those are the same people that will actually get on a horse and ride it bareback, not realizing that even though it is a relatively natural thing, your tailbone is landing right on their spine. Not good. You really don't want that ever. Another thing a lot of people use when they're riding bareback, they use a saddle pad, or not a saddle pad, a bareback pad. Now, if you use one with a stirrup on it, and I'm not sure how that would work, I'm suspecting you'd have to tighten that thing awfully tight around the horse in order to make those stirrups functional at all, because if you put any weight at all, the thing would move. So I don't think they'd be all that comfortable for the horse. On top of that, they're not going to displace the weight any. One guy did suggest, and I thought it was a brilliant idea, is if you are going to use a bareback pad, put a regular saddle pad underneath. You know, it's going to cover a fairly large area. It will displace your weight some. Not as good as a saddle, but better than bareback alone. So just some things to think about. Pros and cons. You think you're being nice to your horse riding bareback because it's much more natural. Well, it might be natural, but it's not nice to the horse, because if your tailbone's hitting that spine, that can't be comfortable for the horse. So think about it. Next time you want to be nice to your horse, put a saddle on it. Okay? Have a good day, folks.